Good afternoon, and welcome to another show of Cooking with Robbie. It's not a show, but hey, it's in my mind. Today I'm going to do something pretty easy. It's very simple, and everyone probably already knows how to make this, but it's a chicken vegetable soup. So it's very simple. Basically, you're just dumping everything in a pot, cooking it all together, getting it cooked through, and eating it. But so today, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to chop up half an onion. These onions are pretty big. If it was a smaller onion, you could use the whole onion. I'm going to use half because half is a good amount to start with this onion. If you want more, you can add more onion to it, but you don't need a whole lot of onion in this soup. Just put that in the sink. I'm going to chop up the onion. I just sharpened my knife, so it's a little sharper than I had anticipated it being. So I guess I need to be very careful with this today. But chop up half an onion, and it's going to be a rough chop, not a fine chop, but a pretty rough chop will work. Just chopping up half the onion, getting ready to go in. I got a few pieces a little bit bigger than I wanted. It's a rough chop is all I'm doing. I didn't want a fine chop. Just a rough chop on this onion. We go into the soup. And the good thing I like about this soup is the pieces can be chunkier. Let me turn on my pot. I'm gonna brown the onions just a little bit, just to get them started. And I'm gonna use some grapeseed oil today. Just a little grapeseed oil, different flavor. Be honest, I haven't tried this before, so I'm going to see how it works. And I'm going to let that heat up. Got my heat turned on medium-high right now. This is heating up. And got the onion chopped. And I'm going to just throw this part away right here. Trash can's close, but not real close. And I'll put the rest of the onion up for later. So this soup, we're going to have onion, we're going to have chicken, some potatoes, some tomatoes. I'm using a little cheat start. You can use fresh vegetables, but I'm using what I have. I'm using some canned mixed vegetables. I have some that I prepared the other night. And drop these in the pan to get this started. Just a little mixed onion, just a little onion going in to start with, into the pan. I'm going to let that get started. And to that, and do just a little bit of browning, I'm going to let my chicken get just a little bit of color on it. And I'm using a cutting board, and what I'm going to do is, I have a few more things to chop after this, so I'll flip the board over so that I'm not using the same side that I'm cutting the chicken on. But everything's going into the pot. It's all going in together. So I'm going to cut up the chicken as the onions are heating. I didn't pre-cut everything today, just so you say that I do cut the stuff up. Gucci's not in here preparing stuff early for me. So this is just one chicken breast, and I have a chicken thigh. And I'm doing the breast and the thigh because for the soup, I want the flavor from the chicken going in there. And the thigh, I've got a few pieces of fat on here, but the thigh tends to add a little more flavor than just the breast itself. So I'm going to be putting this in with the onion so that it can be browning as well. I just want a little bit of color, not much, on this. Then we'll add some water in the potatoes, and we'll start the cooking. But, like I said, I'm going to be adding the chicken. I've got some fresh tomatoes I'm going to be adding to it, some canned tomatoes. So it's kind of a vegetable soup, but with chicken. You can use different meats instead of chicken. I do this a lot with beef or with ground turkey. And different vegetables. usually, the green beans, the corn. And into this, I'm also going to be adding a little over a cup of some orzo. Orzo's a nice little pasta. You notice I haven't put any seasoning on this yet. I do have some seasonings ready to go. Just putting it straight into the pot. I'm going to cook a little seasoning in there with it. There'll be a lot of seasoning in the soup to make sure you have a very nice flavor going on. Let me wash my hands. I'm going to wash the knife. And I'm going to flip my board so that I can be cutting the other things up on the other side of the board. And then I will bleach the board down afterwards. My paper towels here. This is cooking. Get my spoon to give this a little stir. Like I said, I just want a little color on this before I start adding some of the liquid in. Since I want the chicken to have a good flavor to it going, I'm going to go add some of my spices. I have a Mediterranean herb and salt. It gives it a nice flavor. This has sea salt, garlic, red pepper, oregano, fennel, a little lemon peel. Gives it a little nice fresh flavor to it. I'm going to add some extra minced garlic. All this can cook in with the chicken. A little crushed red pepper flakes. So it'll give it a little heat. Let me put my spices up. A little salt. And the little pepper. You can add more salt and pepper as you go along as you're tasting and find out does it need more. But this are the spices that I'm going to be adding in. And after I add the liquids, I'm also going to be adding, sorry about that, that was my boss calling in. I'm going to have to pause for a minute. And I'll be right back. I'm going to take a commercial break to go do something real quick. Turn that off. Okay. This is cooking well. Chicken's starting to turn white. Got a little bit more to go. So while that's going, I'm going to go ahead and cut up a couple of russet potatoes. I started peeling these, but you know, I like the peeling on my potatoes, even in soup. So I decided I'll go ahead and leave them on. I'm going to do these in, again, rough chops, not tiny pieces, pretty good sized pieces. That's the good thing about the soups. You can do things, put in what you like, what you don't like. Big pieces, small pieces, however you want to do it. And since it's just me here, and Gucci, he's not going to complain, and I'm not either. That one's a little big. Just check to see if they're the right size. These will cook down a little bit. Part of the potato I don't want. It's got a little bit of bad spot on it. I'll cut that off. Now this is something you can do in the summertime and can it. You just wouldn't put the meat in it, but the vegetables and the tomatoes and stuff. When your garden comes in, go ahead and can some soup starters. And that'll have you set and ready to go throughout the winter. Because I've got the garden going in this week. And if it does well, then things we got put in it, you know, I'll go ahead and do some canning, either tomatoes or soups. Okay, this is cooking nicely. And what the chicken and the onions in here. And it doesn't have to get done, just a little color on the meat. I'm gonna add the first part of water here. I'm gonna be adding more liquid, so if I need to add more water, I've got more water here to add. And into that, I'm also going to add some vegetable bouillon. This has, if you don't have a vegetable stock or a chicken stock to add, a bouillon's a good way to go. And this is a Cento vegetable bouillon paste. You can use the cubes for the chicken stock cubes or the vegetable stock cubes. Whatever you want to do. If you're doing beef, do the beef. Just going to stir that up a little bit. I'm going to add the potatoes to my soup, to the water. And the chicken and the onions. All this is going to be cooking together, doing nicely. Nice starchiness from the potatoes going in. I'm going to go ahead and add the vegetables that I had the other night. Just add the liquid right along with it that I had. And the next can, I'm going to drain these a little so I don't use all the canned waters in there. I have water added. Drain that in. You just drain this out. I'm going to throw those in. Just a can of mixed vegetables. And to that, I'm going to add a can of finely chopped tomatoes. Use whole tomatoes, crushed. This is finely chopped. Since this is a canned tomato, I will have to add more salt because the tomatoes just tend to need more salt than other vegetables. I don't know why. I guess it's the acidic part of the tomatoes. Just stir that in. And I don't know about you, but I like some chunks of tomato in my soups. So I'm going to dice up some Roma tomatoes and add those in. And then we're basically done. But just a couple of Romas. I'm going to add those in. And basically, not small chunks, not giant chunks, just medium-sized chunks of tomato. I'm going to add in. These have all been washed ahead of time. So I'm really excited. I sharpened the knife. I didn't realize it was as dull as it was. But it's slicing through these like butter. It's a good thing to make sure your knives are sharp before you cook, because a dull knife can cause you to have more accidents. One more I think will do for what I want to put in here. And I want to use the tomatoes too because I've got these tomatoes. It's been probably 2 weeks ago and they're starting to get a little softer. So I need to use them before they get too soft. Add these in. I'm using the best tool that God gave you, your hands. Just get it added in. Put those into the bowl there. And I think I might want to add a couple more tomatoes. We'll see. That's something I can always add a little bit of later. And I'm just going to let that cook, simmer for a little while. I'll show you what it looks like. You have the soup in the pot, and it's just cooking. And see, just adding those things in there, And it's just going to cook away for probably about the next hour, hour and a half. I'm going to cook it to start with without the lid on. And then I'm going to add the lid to it. Like I said before, you could have used chicken stock or vegetable stock in this. Pick it up. And this makes a nice hearty soup. And it's a little chilly here for the next few days, so this will be great to have in the chilly weather. Okay, we've been cooking for about 45 minutes now. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a cup of whole wheat orzo to the soup. Just going to add this in. So we'll get the noodles in the soup that probably need. I switch to a slotted spoon so things mix better. The soup is looking good. This orzo is just going to add just another depth of flavors, another texture to the soup. I'm going to let that cook in, and we're going to cook for about another half an hour, 40 minutes, and the soup is going to be done. I'll turn the heat down to low so it can just simmer, and I'm going to put the lid on the pot. And that's it. We'll see how it looks in about half an hour. I should show you first. This is how we've looked after about 30 minutes. You can see how the soup is developing nicely. The vegetables are getting tender, the potatoes. Chicken's cooking in well. This looks like it's going to be a really good soup.